I signed off from a meeting and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, wow, I'm worn out. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Glow Up Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Megan Winkler, and today I'm taking you on a bit of a journey. I burned out last week. Oh my God. I know. Behind me, my book, Breaking Up with Burnout. I've written a book on this. I coach on this. Oh my gosh, I should be immune from burnout, right? Wrong. What I am almost immune to is burning out long term. And so I want to share this story with you for a couple of reasons. One is just to help you kind of see what it's like once you have figured out what your burnout triggers are, what the symptoms of burnout are for you, and like how you can stop acute burnout in its tracks so it does not become chronic burnout. And I also want to share it with you because I just really believe in transparency. And I think it's helpful for you to understand as a listener of the podcast, perhaps as a reader of the book, maybe as a client of mine, that yeah, it's a progress. It's requires practice. It is not something that is a one and done thing. And that if you burn out, from life or the world or whatever, you're not failing in any way, shape, or form. Okay. So we will preface this little story with this is normal. And burnout really becomes a big problem when it becomes chronic. So there's these stages of burnout that I'm actually going to post about later this week on my Instagram. But within them, like things start getting worse and your stress starts increasing. And a lot of times it'll sneak up on you. So let me back up. I realized this weekend when I was doing a kind of October in review story post on Instagram that I had so many pictures from October, like so many, like maybe 3 times as many in October than I have in recent months. And that's because it was a very, very busy month. I'm actually going to pull up my calendar. October is always my, if not my busiest month, like one of my busiest months. And so in October, I'll just show you my pretty calendar here if you're watching on video. So I was in Tucson for the first full week of October. So maybe like we just back up to September. Like, let's just see. Okay, so yeah. So September ended with a very busy week. We were moving into Libra season. I had 2 different political social events. So local politics organizations, but the socials, like a Taco Tuesday night and like a Saturday get together thing. Okay, cool. And then the first week of November or of October, excuse me, I flew to Tucson. I was at the Witches Bazaar with Morgan and Ink Goddess Creations, and that was amazing. And I came back on a Sunday and got back to work on a Monday, which I should not have done. I also started my cycle on that Monday. Yay, fun times. I then, let's see, I was organizing a last minute project. I was navigating starting a new project that week as well. I was at traffic court with Danny to help him, just like emotional support, doing mom stuff, to help him through a traffic ticket and fighting that. I had my book coven. And that is always a lot of fun. But that night in particular was book coven plus practical magic night. So we were there later. We were watching a movie. We had all of these people. It was amazing. My extroverted self was very, very, very excited. And it was kind of exhausting. It was a little exhausting. That's all right. The 18th, we did our No Kings March again. Mike and I were on the safety team, making sure people did not walk out into the street when they were not supposed to. And the protesters were being cool with the counter protesters and all that. Basically keeping peace. That night we had dinner with some friends of ours. Then the next weekend was the Day of the Dead Festival in Denton, Texas on the 25th. And so that was big. The 26th was Sunday. That's when I did my Black Moon and Lilith workshop. Was a blast. Loved it. Throughout the month, just life stuff, people stuff, Halloween stuff, all of that. And then, of course, Samhain on Saturday coming up. You know, it was coming up and I was very excited about it. And it was like 2 days before Samhain, Halloween, that I just was like, I'm done. I signed off from a meeting and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, wow, I'm worn out. That night, I seriously was like, I was hungry, but I didn't want to cook anything. Mike's like, well, what do we have? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even want to go look. I don't care. You can see on the video that I'm still healing from a breakout. I got a horrible breakout mid-month, which is not like me. I was not sleeping. And if I was sleeping, it was really weird dreams. But it was the moment that I signed off from a call that I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, oh, this is a red flag. So what I did when I was burnt out, and I have a super supportive partner who is always open to anything that I have going on in my life. He always wants to know how he can help support me, take care of me, all of that. And we're really good at taking care of each other, which is really cool. So I went downstairs and I was like, I'm burning out. I'm burning out. And he did talk me through a few things, and I realized a few things. And one of the things that I realized is that I have always been a very hard worker, and I have that generator energy in my human design, and I work harder and faster than most people do. And he helped me remember that I feel like I'm behind even when I'm ahead of everyone else. And so if you are a high achiever, if you are the person that everybody goes to at work or in life, ask yourself if you're really ahead of everyone else and you're actually moving faster and you're more productive than anyone else you know, and you still feel like you're behind. Because I would be willing to bet that you probably have a very similar problem that I do. I always feel like I'm not doing enough. And even after all of these years, and even after being really good with setting boundaries, when I hit a really busy season, like I just read off to you from my actual calendar, my happy planner, I start losing focus of that. Now, on top of that, for the past couple of weeks, as of recording this on November 3rd, SNAP benefits were not approved or dispersed for millions of people on November 1st. And that was really weighing on me. I'm part of a couple of political organizations that are trying to find solutions to the problems we have. And so another thing that I was doing is I was looking at a lot of big picture stuff, because in the roles that I am participating in a couple of these organizations, we really are trying to look at the big picture as a group. Now, I have said over and over again, even to myself, that when we look at too big a picture, it can be really overwhelming. And I was not separating want to say more like academic strategy, that kind of approach of like looking at the big picture from my emotions. I was letting all of my emotions really, really, really get to me. And so that combined with the SNAP benefits, news, and just, I don't know, everything. The war in Ukraine, Gaza, the freaking East Wing, all the things. It was too much. And so the thing that went along with I'm ahead of everybody else, even when I feel like I'm behind, I'm doing much better than I realize. Again, reiterating that for my people pleasers and workaholics here. You're doing way more than you think you are. You're ahead of everybody else. You're doing a great job. But along with all of that, I was also really, really, really holding a lot of empathy for millions of people, like holding space for the emotions that I was experiencing, like through my social media feed. So it was a lot. So I had work and life things. I had beyond work and life things with society things and injustice things. And it just piled up on me. Okay. Again, sharing this for transparency's sake, but also to remind you that if you fall into burnout or when you fall into burnout, it is not a personal failing. It is normal and natural. So what did I do to get out of it? Here's the bigger thing. All right. So number one, I communicated with my partner and I communicated with my son. So I told them both, I'm like, I am burning out. I don't want to make any big decisions today. This was Wednesday. I already had on my schedule Thursday afternoon to kind of go play hooky with Danny. I was taking him to, dropped him off to get his hair cut. And then afterwards I was picking him back up and we were going to go to a little artist market at one of the local universities. Well, after I dropped him off, I took myself to Barnes and Noble and I bought myself a book and I got my little membership yearly tote bag too. I'm like, oh, okay. So this was a pattern interrupt. This was something for myself by myself because even extroverts can get overwhelmed with people and the energy. Okay. So Wednesday, I realized when I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And I really meant like work. It wasn't like an existential thing. It wasn't like a depressive thing or anything. But I was just like, oh, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like I need a break. I need a vacation. I realized it. Like I have over the years figured out what phrases I say to myself and what those mean. So anytime I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore, or everybody wants something from me, it doesn't mean it's true. It means that I'm burning out. Okay. So that was Wednesday. And I told my husband, I said, I don't want to make any more decisions for the day. He made me dinner and I let him. That's the thing. I let myself be taken care of. So Thursday, I got up. I started the day with the attitude of I don't have to rush. I'm ahead. I'm doing well. Everything's good. And like literally anytime I started to like try to multitask or double up on things was like, no, I'm good. So I actually got one of my tasks for the week done by like lunchtime on Thursday. And I didn't think that I was going to be able to. So again, that's another thing that contributes to our burnout. We think and we kind of spin in our own heads that it's like, oh my God, I'm never going to get this done. I've got so many things I have to do. I have to do. I have to do. I have to do. And a lot of times that's not actually the case. You have a lot of things, but you're kind of spinning yourself up and falling into that trap of worrying about the future. And it's anxiety really in a different form. Okay. So then Thursday afternoon, I went and played for a little while. And then I came back and I did a couple of quick admin things, but then I was done at like 5:30. I was like, Friday, I had no calls. I wore comfy pants. I pulled my hair up. I didn't worry about my makeup, just like hopped in and out of the shower that morning. And I took things at my own pace. I then took a nap. We went out Friday night because it was Samhain and Halloween. And I gave myself permission. I gave myself permission not to dress up, not to go over the top. Gave myself permission just to be. And so I was not super high energy on Halloween, on Samhain. I was happy to be at the brewery we were at. There were silly musicians, there were drag performers. It was great. We met up with someone that Mike knew from work. Um, and I gave myself permission and space to be tired. And you know what? We were home at like 10:30, which is very early for us. And we were both ready to just go to bed. Saturday, I woke up. We took our time in the morning and then we went to Taco Fest, which was lots of fun. It's exactly what it sounds like. Tacos, tacos for days. And then Sunday, I just was quiet and I was home and I read and I watched a couple of episodes of Nobody Wants This on Netflix. I even got in the kitchen and like whipped up a banana oat cake bread thing and I made red beans and rice for dinner, which was a huge sign for me that I was rested. So the in between moments, though, I think were really important. So I was giving myself permission to show up as I was. So I didn't worry too much about like what I was wearing to Taco Fest. I just wore something that was going to keep me warm, but not too warm because we're kind of hitting that fall weather here in Texas. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to show up as myself and it's okay. I also was really intentional about using my phone or not using it. I didn't take a lot of pictures this weekend. I normally would have taken a bunch because content, yay. I stayed off of Instagram pretty much all weekend. I played a lot of games on my phone instead. um, I distanced myself from news a little bit over the weekend. Did I disconnect myself from news completely? No, I didn't, but I gave myself space. And I was like, if I'm not ready to deal with news right now, I'm not going to pick up my phone and scroll through Instagram because I follow people like Under the Desk News, V Spear, highly recommend. Aaron Parnas, also highly recommend. But like, I also follow The Guardian and I have friends who are all very socially and politically aware and they're sharing about current events and all that. So it's like, it's one of those things where if I get on Instagram for business or enjoyment, I'm also going to get in on there and I'm going to see a lot of the current events, right? And I just wanted to kind of keep myself away from that a little bit. So I was really mindful of that. So I didn't jump on Instagram first thing in the morning and I didn't sit there for hours on it and all that. So it's these really small intentional shifts that helped me recover and get out of burnout. So today is Monday. I'm feeling more like myself, absolutely. And I'm going to continue the pace of I don't have to move quickly between tasks. I don't have to try and do 20 things at once. I don't have to, feel like I'm behind because I'm not behind. And so if you take nothing else from this episode today, I want you to take this. You're not behind. I know because I know the people that I attract. I attract high achievers. I attract high performers, creative people. I attract a lot of human design projectors. So if you happen to know your human design, you might be a projector, even if you don't know your human design. Um, I attract a lot of big picture thinkers who can get overwhelmed by the big picture. So just knowing a lot of y'all personally that I know are listening, you're already doing a shit ton. Cut yourself some slack. And I'm saying this to myself as well. I already do a shit ton. I got to cut myself some slack. right? And this is a continual thing because we have internalized a lot of the systems that are around us, right? Like we talk about internalized patriarchy or internalized misogynism. We also have internalized capitalism. And this late stage capitalism that we are in is very focused on go, 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 do, do, do. And you just do not have to do so many things to be productive. And your work is not tied to your worth. So in case you needed to hear that today, there you are, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for going on this journey with me. I realized my story was a little disjointed there in the beginning, but I just wanted to show up and just be myself and share this story with you so that you understand that any self transformation, self improvement process, any work you're doing with a therapist, work you're doing with a coach, with a mentor, it's work, it's a process. And much like witchcraft, it's a practice, and you get better at it over time. You never get perfect at it. I'm not perfect at it. Nobody will be perfect at it. It's okay. But it's a continual practice, and you get better at it all the time. So whatever you're working on right now, whatever your to-dos are on your to-do list for today and for the rest of the week, you're doing great. Do one thing at a time. You're already ahead of anybody else that's around you. And give yourself space and room to breathe. My friends, thank you so much for tuning in. If you love this podcast, I want to invite you to join my Patreon. Memberships start at $3 a month, but the higher tiers do get some yummy PDF downloads. There's going to be something new going out this week, so yay. I'm excited about that. Just go to patreon.com and type in the search Glow Up Circle, and you'll find me there. I'll also have in the show notes here on the podcast platforms that you're listening on and on YouTube as well. Come hang out with me on Instagram at It's Megan Winkler, and feel free to swing by meganwinkler.com to learn about all of my services. I've done a little revamp on it this week, so I hope you like it. And let me know if you have any questions or if you have a topic for the podcast that you would like me to chat about. I'm really excited to welcome my very first guest to the podcast next week, so you'll be hearing from her. And I think you're just going to love her. Her energy is so high vibe, and she's just so amazing. So I'm excited for you to hear that episode. But until next time, my friends, make sure you stay hydrated, stay safe, stay warm, and as always, stay magical. Bye, y'all.